Stop! That hypersonic jet you saw in Top Gun Maverick? It's not just a Hollywood effect. There's a real Darkstar aircraft that was used on the film set, and the team that designed it is the world's most secretive aviation division, Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works. But here's the really interesting part. This fictional aircraft shows the future of real hypersonic technology. Today, I'm going to show you how a Hollywood movie is transforming into real military technology, why flying at Mach 10 is impossible, and why this technology matters for global defense. Let me tell you something. In 8 minutes, you'll learn a truth about hypersonic weapons that most military experts don't know. When Top Gun Maverick hit theaters in 2022, the Darkstar aircraft we saw in the opening scene blew everyone's mind. Remember that scene where Tom Cruise reached Mach 10? The cockpit windows glowing red, the aircraft shaking, and then explosion. Most people thought it was entirely CGI, but the truth is far more interesting. Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works division partnered with Paramount Pictures to produce a real Darkstar prototype. Yes, it doesn't fly, but the design is 100% based on real engineering principles. Now think about this. Why would a film studio ask for help from the world's most secretive military company? Because hypersonic technology is no longer science fiction. China and Russia are developing missiles faster than Mach 5, and America doesn't want to fall behind in this race. Discussing movie fiction while showing real military applications, Top Gun may seem like just an action movie, but it's actually a propaganda tool. The Pentagon is using this film to send a message to the younger generation. Future wars will be won not by pilots, but by hypersonic weapons. In this video, I'm going to show you 1. Darkstar's real design process and Skunk Works' 43 iterations. 2. The physical impossibility of flying at Mach 10 and the scientific errors in the film. 3. How scramjet engines work and why they're so important. 4. Where global powers stand in the hypersonic race and why this technology is critical. To prepare this video, I spent 12 hours analyzing interviews with Skunk Works engineers, reading NASA's hypersonic research reports, and examining every frame of Top Gun Maverick. By watching this video, you'll learn military secrets most people have never heard of. Let's get started. The birth of Darkstar, 330 for Feynman. When filming Top Gun Maverick, Paramount Pictures faced a problem. The hypersonic jet Tom Cruise would fly had to be completely believable. But how? Hollywood effects teams do amazing work, but military aviation engineers are on an entirely different level. Paramount went directly to Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works division. Why? Because Skunk Works is the team that designed history's most secretive aircraft, SR-71 Blackbird, F-117 Nighthawk, U-2 spy plane. They all came from here. Brian Hirschberger, Darkstar Project's lead engineer, says in his interview, "Paramount reached out to us because of our leadership position in hypersonics," talking about secrecy while revealing design details. Skunk Works normally runs projects without even the Pentagon knowing, but Darkstar was different. Millions of people would see this aircraft. How did the design process work? Skunk Works partnered with Daniel Simon, a concept designer from Hollywood. Simon had worked on films like Tron Legacy and Oblivion. The teams went through 43 different iterations. They redesigned from scratch 43 times. Why? Because the aircraft had to meet both Hollywood's aesthetic expectations and comply with real laws of physics. So what was the result? Could the aircraft that emerged really reach Mach 10? The answer will surprise you. The impossibility of Mach 10, 5 to 7 minute race. Remember the most epic scene in the film. As Maverick approaches Mach 10, the cockpit windows start heating up and everything shakes. This scene is visually stunning, but scientifically problematic. Payoff, the physics reality. Brian Hirschberger's explanation is crystal clear. Mach 5 is where hypersonic speed begins, because at this speed, air molecules start to break down. Read that again. Air. Molecules. Breaking down. At Mach 5, plasma forms around the aircraft, just like the space shuttle's atmospheric re-entry. So what happens at Mach 10? At Mach 10 speed, the aircraft's surface heats up to 3,000 degrees C. That's a temperature where steel can melt. Darkstar's cockpit windows shown in the film, they would instantly vaporize in real life. But wait! The space shuttle enters the atmosphere at Mach 20, and astronauts survive, right? Correct? But the space shuttle's heat shield is protected with 10 cm to a thick ceramic coating. You can't add such heavy protection to a fighter aircraft like Darkstar because it wouldn't be able to fly. Discussing Hollywood realism while exposing impossible physics. Top Gun Maverick is a film that pays great attention to detail. They used real F-18s, pilots experienced real G-forces, but the Mach 10 scene, completely cinematic exaggeration. So, is manned hypersonic flight truly impossible? Or is Skunk Works hiding something? I'll explain that in the next section. The Scramjet Revolution, 7th and 9th Amendment 3. In the film, Maverick says, "Switching to Scramjet." At that moment, massive engines activate and the aircraft accelerates incredibly. This scene isn't just a cool effect, it's based on real technology. Scramjet is short for supersonic combustion ramjet. What's the difference from normal jet engines? Brian Hirschberger makes an excellent analogy. A scramjet is like lighting a match in the middle of a hurricane, and you have to keep that match burning. A normal jet engine works like this. Air is sucked in, compressed fuel is added and exploded, exhaust gas shoots out the back. But after Mach 5, the air comes in so fast, you can't slow it down and compress it. Scramjet's solution: burn the air at supersonic speed. This is an engineering miracle. In 2010, Lockheed Martin's Falcon HTV-2 project conducted a test flight that reached Mach 20. The flight lasted only 9 minutes and the aircraft disintegrated. But this was the fastest controlled flight humanity had achieved until then. Now, ask yourself this question. If America could reach Mach 20 in 2010, what can they do in 2025? And more importantly, what are China and Russia doing? Right now, a silent arms race is underway in the world. China tested the DFZF hypersonic glide missile. Russia made the Avangard hypersonic missile operational. Why are these missiles so dangerous? Keith, a senior engineer at Skunk Works, says, "From the moment you see a hypersonic vehicle, you have very little time to track, target, and prosecute it. Because it's going fast, it's very hard to hit." Traditional missiles follow a parabolic trajectory. Radars easily detect them. But hypersonic weapons can maneuver within the atmosphere. They can change their trajectory. This makes them almost unstoppable. America says it's the leader in hypersonic technology. But the truth is, China and Russia have already made hypersonic missiles operational. America is still in the testing phase. So where do global powers stand? Defense contractors worldwide are working on hypersonic missile projects, but most are still in the testing phase. If nations don't invest in this technology, they'll fall behind militarily within 10 years. At the end of the interview, Brian Hirschberger says, "At Skunk Works, if you can imagine something, we can implement it. Maybe, just maybe." What does this mean? Future possibilities. Lockheed Martin is working on a hypersonic spy plane called SR-72. This aircraft will be the successor to the SR-71 and will be able to reach Mach 6 speed. It's expected to be operational by 2030. So, Darkstar isn't just a Hollywood fantasy. It was a prototype of reality 10 years from now. Imagine, it's the year 2035. You're looking at the sky and you see an aircraft. But that aircraft is traveling at 2 kilometers per second. As it passes by your eye, you hear a sonic boom. This isn't science fiction. This is the near future. Today, I taught you fixed. 1. Darkstar was designed with Skunk Works' real engineering expertise and went through 43 iterations. 2. Manned flight at Mach 10 is nearly impossible with current technology, but the space shuttle succeeded at Mach 20. 3. Scramjet engines work like lighting a match in a hurricane and are the key to hypersonic flight. 4. China and Russia have taken the lead in the hypersonic race, and nations must urgently invest in this technology. If you watch this video to the end, you now have more knowledge about hypersonic technology than 90% of people. Tell me in the comments, what do you think about the future of hypersonic weapons in modern warfare? Subscribe, because next week I'm telling the never-before-known story of the SR-71 Blackbird. In that video, you'll see the Cold War's most secret espionage operation. See you there.